Hi, this is Tim Boss with FinancialCyclesWeekly.com with another Astro-Traders video tip of the week. On January 12th, 2020, we got a rare conjunction of the planets Saturn and Pluto. This is what the horoscope chart looks like for this event. Here we're circling Pluto on the left and Saturn on the right, both at 22 degrees 46 minutes in the sign of Capricorn. And we note here that they are also tightly conjoined with Mercury on the left there at 23 of Capricorn and the Sun at 21 of Capricorn. So this expands the impact of this Saturn-Pluto combination. Now, Saturn is about limitations. Pluto is about massive change and transformation in very, very powerful ways. So what we get is slow-moving change, a slowdown in things, and a restriction in the ability to transform things. This is especially true in the world of communications, as evidenced by Mercury and the Sun being tied up with this Saturn-Pluto conjunction. We also note here that the conjunction itself forms a square, a 90-degree angle down here to the trans-Neptunian factor Zeus, which adds a tremendous amount of force to the situation as well. It's almost as if we are pushing really, really hard to make things change, and it just doesn't want to move. So that's the nature of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. We can also look at the 90-degree dial, which gives us a different perspective on this same horoscope configuration. Over on the left here, we see the pointer on the dial connected with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. A little different arrangement of the alignments of the planets here. But what's important are these vertical lines that show us the midpoint configurations being triggered by this enormously powerful Saturn-Pluto conjunction. We have, to start with, the Kronos-Apollon midpoint being triggered, which is all about very, very slow changes on a large scale, long-lasting reductions, typically in commercial activity. On top of that, we've got the ascendant Hades midpoint being triggered, which suggests a disagreeable environment with very sad circumstances getting even worse as time goes by. And then finally, we have the Cupido-Poseidon midpoint activated, which is about the institution of religions, the development of religions, and the transformation of religious groups to experience extreme opposition from established religions as well. Now, we want to point out here that Saturn-Pluto conjunctions don't happen very often. In fact, the most recent ones have been in 1982, in 1947, and in 1914. So it's a relatively rare phenomenon. Now, in looking at what we anticipate seeing with its impact on the markets, obviously we can't use just these three previous examples. We need more data to get statistically significant information about the potential for the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. That's why we are using the 8th harmonic alignments of these two planets to backtest the Saturn-Pluto effect on the stock market. So if we look at the 8th harmonic, which includes the conjunctions, the oppositions, the squares, the semisquares, the sesquiquadrats, so we have more examples of alignments between Saturn and Pluto, this is what the result looks like. We have a diagram here that shows the average response of the S&P 500 to any of the 8th harmonic alignments of Saturn and Pluto. Historically, we've backtested here about 60 years with the S&P, and what we're showing on this chart are the S&P dynamics for 120 days prior to the alignments and 120 days after. That 0 point in the middle, that vertical line, is the date of the conjunction. In this case, it's on January 12, 2020, and to the left, we see the typical market trend trending upwards. Now, as we look back to the previous 120 days, this is what the S&P has done during this period. As we can see here, it's a pretty close alignment with what is typical for that period moving into the time of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So we believe that this pattern will hold true, which leads us to look more precisely at what's coming up next. And here what we're seeing for about 75 days days or so following the date of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on the 12th of January is a period of trading congestion. And so we expect a more static pattern and congested trading for the S&P until about the last week in March, based on the statistical average here. So that's what we can expect as the shorter term results of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction as we look during the next few months. Now these are very, very slow moving planets, which is why we project it not for a day-to-day reaction, but a reaction that spreads out over the next couple of months here until about the end of March. Now Saturn-Pluto alignments also have a very strong connection to cycles of war and to international outbreaks of violence. We're particularly concerned about that here with this 2020 Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is likely to have major geopolitical consequences during the coming months. Now, we just did a special training program on these dynamics. It was called Eclipse Triggers, Global Lunacy, and the Coming War. You can get a complete copy of the video of that training program at bit.ly/SP Warfare. That's capital S, capital P, everything is lowercase. Go there and you can get a copy of this training that will tell you a lot more about the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. That's our Astro Traders video tip of the week. For more tips, subscribe today and go to financialcyclesweekly.com.